amp, but
so you can see a lot of folks have many different guitars, and it really comes down to the style of the music that they prefer. Now, if you're into Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Johnson, or John Mayer, then use what they use. They use Strats. If you're into Albert Collins or Steve Cropper or Brad Paisley, then a Tele would be your would be your weapon of choice. If you just can't get enough of Jimmy Page or Slash or Joe Perry, then you got to go with a Les Paul. And Larry Carlton, Chuck Berry, and B.B. King all took their signature sounds from semi-acoustics like the 335 over here. So I'd say rather than getting hung up on the exact wood and pickup combination from scratch, my suggestion is jump to the front of the line by looking at the guitars that most of your influencers play. So let's briefly look at the construction of these guitars and how they kind of differ. First up, we have necks. We have basically three different types of ways in which the neck is joined to the body. In your typical Gibson, you have a set neck. In other words, the neck is glued to the body. Some set necks have a tenon joint that slots down deep in the body for a more solid joint. In your typical Fender, you will have a bolt-on neck. And this was predicated on Leo Fender's idea of mass production and ease of modification. Just pull one neck off and screw another one straight back on. It's no secret that Leo Fender was influenced by Henry Ford, and some people consider that the Telecaster was kind of like the Model T guitar of its time. Now, another neck style, I don't have an example of this, but that would be a straight through neck where the neck goes all the way from the top here all the way to the back of the body, and the rest of the body is just kind of like wings that just bolt on to the top and the bottom of the neck right there. Now, at the end of the day, the job of these joins is to be really, really tight to transfer all the vibrations and resonance all throughout the body of the guitar. Some folks, it's like all these subjects, some folks absolutely swear by set necks, but the obviously downside is that if this neck goes bad, you got to send it back to the factory. On the Fender, you can just unscrew it and screw on a new one. Now, all you need to make sure of at the end of the day is that you have a very, very solid join on all those four surfaces of that join. A bolt-on that doesn't have snug planes will lose sustain. Also, a set neck that used too much glue to fill the gaps will lose sustain as well. Now, necks are typically single pieces, although some will have attached headstocks, and of course some have separate fingerboards, and some are just straight through necks like this. Now, most necks are cut parallel to the grain, although some can be cut perpendicular. Mahogany and rosewood fingerboards are the typical combination for Gibsons. Maples are typically used over in Fenders. Now, scale length is different here. They differ between the models. 25 3/4 inches on Fenders. Gibsons are a 1/2 inch shorter, coming in at 24 3/4 inches. Now, you have to tighten a longer scale to get the same pitch, which gives you kind of a twangier tone. The Gibsons have a little less string tension, producing kind of a chunkier tone. And of course, you can exaggerate this on any guitar just by tuning your guitar down a half or a full step.